What's up, Instagram? Nice to see you. Let me see if I could get Facebook started. Facebook's not cooperating. That's okay. What's up, Instagram? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're tuning from in the world. Glad to see you all today. My wife was just sharing something with me that's really useful. It's a quote that was talking about the fact that there's water everywhere, but if the boat doesn't have any holes in it, it doesn't sink. And therefore, it can cruise over the water or through the water. And I think the same goes with your mind, meaning there's positivity everywhere around you. There's also negativity, bad stuff, a lot of places. But if you don't let it get caught up in your head, it can't drown you. It can't take you out of the game. And so real simple, for day number 69 of our 100-day personal performance and business growth challenge, I wanted to talk about this concept of you get whatever you focus on. And more importantly, you feel whatever you focus on. And so this concept, really simple, if I were to come to you and I were to tell you that your best friend said something really positive about you. They said some really good things, some really kind things about you. How would you feel? Now, for most people, you'd feel pretty good. You'd be like, oh, that's really nice of them, or oh, that's really kind of them, or oh, wow, that's cool. It'd make you feel pretty good to hear that your best friend or a good friend said something kind about you or something nice about you, right? Magda says, instantly feel good. So you'd instantly feel good if you heard someone came to you and said your best friend said something nice about you. Now, what if someone came to you and said, listen, your best friend? I just heard them and they said something not very nice about you. I'm going to leave it at that. How would you feel? Now, most people would feel concerned or feel a little weird about it. Now, if we amplified that and said, your best friend's talking shit about you over there, they're saying some real nasty things, you should go talk to them. We just amplified the negativity. Now, what's interesting is right now, this moment, even hearing those words, many of you might have feelings kind of show up in your body, which is strange because nothing happened. You're just listening to me here on this little chat that we're doing here. The trick is, whatever you're allowing your mind to constantly focus on throughout the day is going to determine how you're feeling all throughout the day. So if you're saying, wow, I think I'm going to get that client, I think I'm going to get that deal, I think I'm going to close this, you feel a certain way. Versus if you're walking around saying, you know what, there's no way I'm going to get that deal, there's no way I'm going to get that gig, there's no way they're going to pick me, you're going to feel very differently. And so the question becomes, have you trained your mind? Have you trained your focus more so to stay consistently laser focused on what you want to have happen instead of what you don't want to have happen? Now, sometimes I'll have people come to me when we bring this up and say, isn't that a little Pollyannish? Aren't you just being super positive? It's not about being positive. It's focusing on what you want and finding a way to get there. Now, if you are focused on what you want and you are working towards getting there, is there a chance that it might not turn out? Yes, 100%. But here's the crazy part. If you're focused on what you want and you're taking action towards making it happen every day and you're moving towards it and fueling your mind and body with the possibility that it will happen and putting in more effort and putting in more time and putting in more focus, is the likelihood of it working out going to go up even a little? Now, of course it is. And how are you going to feel in the process? Most likely, if you're focused on it working out, you're focused on the fact that your friend's saying great things about you, you're focused on the fact that things are moving in the right direction, you're putting in the time, effort, and energy, all of a sudden what you start to notice is you have more energy, you feel better, you communicate differently. Going back to the example about your friend, if you heard your friend just said the most amazing positive thing about you, when you walked in the room and you saw your friend, would you look at him differently? Would you approach them differently? Would you talk to them differently? Now, of course you would. You'd be like, hey, Thank you. Oh my God, thank you so much for saying such kind things. It really, oh man, it touched my heart. Thank you so much. Versus if you walk in that same room and you thought they were just talking shit about you and saying some real nasty stuff and being mean and rude and obnoxious, you'd walk in that room and you'd look at them totally different. You'd walk at them and observe them totally different. They would try to hug you and you'd be like, whoa, easy, what are you doing? And then in your mind, you would justify the story and perpetuate it by saying, see, they were acting weird. I knew it. I knew they must have been doing that. And you'll start to amplify the nonsense instead of asking what's real. And so I'll give you a few steps in this. Regardless, I always say keep it in a positive light, meaning imagine this person was saying the kindest, most generous, most beautiful things about you to start with. That way you see them in a different light. Now, are some people total jerks? Of course they are. At the same time, if you see them in a positive light, you approach them differently. Oftentimes, you'll approach them in a way that no one else or very few other people in their life do, and all of a sudden, you'll get a different part of them. Because here's the second piece of this. How you think about someone around you, how you communicate with someone around you, how you approach someone around you will determine, oftentimes, it's called the Pygmalion effect. It means when a teacher, let me get side story. Let's step over here for a quick thought in my common sense corner. Something called the Pygmalion effect. There was a teacher, or a group of teachers in this research study. They took two students, both got the same exact grades the year before. So both got B's, let's say. They took one student and they went and told the teacher who's going to receive them in their class the next year and said, this is a straight A student, a brilliant student, a wonderful student, lovely to have in class, incredible young human being. You're really going to enjoy this student in your course. The other student they took, who got the same exact grade, same person, went to a different teacher and they said same teacher, and they said this student is a pain in the butt. They're extremely hard to deal with. They're obnoxious and they're very, very difficult. And oftentimes they struggle in all the work that they do in your class. At the end of the semester, they measured the results of both students. The student who they said was this amazing student, even though it was the same person as the other, they got an A, and the other person landed up with a C or D. And it was like, oh my gosh. So they tried it again in a different class with different students and different teachers. And they started noticing the expectation of the teacher started to determine how they would communicate with the student, how they would perceive the student, how they would interact with the student, so much so that it would determine how the student began or proceeded to the results that they would get. So how they would perform really truly was how they were being perceived, how they were being communicated with, and how they were being interacted with by the person who believed them to be better or worse. So my thought, even if a person is a total not that great of a human, and they have been talking a lot of shit about you or saying something, see them as a better version of themselves. Treat them like they're a better human than they're currently acting. Show up to them and call forth a better part of them. And I don't know if you've ever observed this, but I've seen some friends of mine who at one point were acting like a turd. Someone raised the standard of what they expected from them. They called forth this different part of them, and all of a sudden they flourished into this amazing human being in their sports, in their studies, in their school, in their job, because they were brought forth by someone who challenged them and expected more of them. So number one, always expect the best out of everyone around you. Number two, call forth, treat them as if they're a brilliant, wonderful, strong, passionate, powerful human, and bring it forth out of them. Do not accept anything less than that. And the other piece is really, truly, always focus on what you want out of the situation. People are asking what the study's called, or it's called the Pygmalion effect. Google it. It's really wonderful to learn about in this study. So have fun with this. Happy Friday or Saturday morning for you in Australia. See you guys tomorrow for day number 70 of our 100-day personal performance and business growth challenge.